much is that doggy in the window? So my first memory is sitting in like a little plastic chair on a giant stage and like a big green dress with this stuffed dog and like doing tap from the chair with the dog. And
my first time on stage was a nativity scene. I was maybe 4. I was Joseph, and I was up on stage with little baby Jesus and Mary, who was older and taller than I was. And I was standing up there with my little Joseph robe and my cowboy boots that my parents could not get me to take off, and just picking my nose as I stared at baby Jesus.
My first time on stage was I played the Velveteen Rabbit in kindergarten.
yes.
So I had these pink construction paper ears and a bunch of cotton balls on my butt.
My first time on stage, just on a stage in general, was my dad was in a Southern Gospel quartet my whole childhood. So we would tour with him a lot, and I often would ask if I could come up and sing a song. And I think the first time he actually let me, I was like 7, and I wanted to sing Be Born in Me by Francesca Battistelli or something, but it was probably horrendous. My first time performing in a musical was in the 6th grade. I did Grease.
In 5th grade, I was in the Music Man, which was a huge deal because it was a K through 12 school, and it was the first year they let the 5th graders be the cutoff instead of 6th grade, so it was a big deal that I got to be in the Music Man. And we like rented costumes from Broadway, and the sets were huge, and it was like we were dancing with 12th graders, which was a huge deal, and it was a lot of fun.
Like in a show, like in a play, like in a thing? Okay. I was doing a play, a musical, when I was like really little, and it was about clowns. And we were all clowns in this play, and I remember being like, man, I'm not a fan of this play, but I tell you what, I'm kind of glad I'm doing this though. Like, it was weird. But I don't know, we all get bit by that thing, and then you're like, yeah, I can't not do it, or I can't not be around it. Here are these other 11-year-olds making me, also an 11-year-old, feel something. You know what I mean? I was like, no, let me get in on that. Let me see what that's about.
It was actually at church when I was very, very young, and I sang You Raise Me Up by Josh Groban. I ran off stage because I had such terrible stage fright, and I kind of like cut off in the first verse and ran downstairs. And eventually I performed it, but it was pretty dramatic.
My first time on stage was VBS. I did VBS skits all throughout like middle school and high school. There's some really bad pictures of me in like really horrible VBS costumes. Growing up, my dad's a pastor, so he just kind of like flung me in where I was needed. But then my first like actual musical theater experience was in high school. Freshman of high school, I was in the ensemble of Bye Bye Birdie, and that changed everything for me.